Hey Adirondack family, it's Colin bringing you your fitness tip of the week. This week we're going to talk about progressive overload, or I like to talk about is slow cooking the frog. Okay, story here for you, an old story of Milo in the bowl. So he had this calf, and as it grew, he would pick it up every day, and as it grew slowly, he got stronger. And that is a really good story for what we're trying to do in our performance training. We want to progressively overload you so you get the adaptation, and then we can then do it again. A lot of times when we start out and we get new athletes coming in, they want to do what our athletes have been working with us for 3-4 years are doing, and not understanding that was a slow climb to get to where they are. And they want to come in and maybe show us how strong they are. And when we first start out training, progressive overload is extremely important for a couple reasons. One, burnout is a problem. Like our athletes and adults come in, they train too hard, they're reaching too far, they're sore, they're beat up, they lose their motivation, and they quit. There's also a problem with injury. If you aren't ready to withstand those forces and those weights, you can get injured very easily in the weight room by not following this kind of progressive overload, slow cook process. So when we're looking to progressively overload, a lot of times when we get a new athlete in, we only start with 2 sets. So that may be 2 sets of 8 of goblet squat, 2 sets of 5 of cleans, 2 sets of 8 of single leg deadlifts. And that doesn't seem like a whole lot of volume, but that is the part of the progress. If we go 3-4 sets of that and we overshoot, we may never see you again, or you'll be really sore. And sometimes we only have 48 hours to get you back into training. You may come in Monday and then come back in on Wednesday. And if you're really, really sore and beat up, your technique's going to be off. So whatever we try to do in our skills section of our training session, going to be off. And then our lift, we've got another lift we got to show you how to do. And if you're so beat up you can't get through that lift, then that pushes our learning and our progressive overload down even further, because our goal, number 1, is not to hurt anybody. Number 2 is improve performance. So when we're looking at the progressive overload sequence, we start off 2 sets, and then the following week we add 3 sets. So that's a great way to add progressively. And then most commonly people like to use weight. Every week they try to do a little bit more. A lot of times our athletes, they can add 5 pounds, maybe 10 pounds a week, and then at a certain point that starts to stop, right? We can't continue to progressively overload our lift. So we've got to go to fractional plates. So we're using maybe 1 pound weights on each side, or even half pound weights we have some of our athletes using, because they cannot jump the next thing. So progressive overload, super important complex when we're talking about performance training, and we're talking about conditioning and a lot of different other things. We've got to make sure that we don't just start off with the hardest conditioning, the heaviest lift that we did. We want to slowly ramp up that hill, because for a lot of you, it's consistency. It's showing up consistently, getting it done. It was what is going to improve your performance over 6 months, a year, over 2 years. We can't microwave this process. So if you try to show up, you're not going to get stronger in that session. It's putting session to session to session, and never missing is how you get stronger. So if your athlete needs help, you need help with your program design, we have online coaching. We train athletes in the club. We'd love to have you. Reach out to me. We'll get you set up, and we look forward to seeing you around the club.